Hey guys, so today I'm going to be demoing the NYX Highlight and Contour Pro Palette as requested by you guys. When I showed this in a recent haul video, obviously contouring and highlighting, contouring really is like a very buzzed word in the whole beauty community over the past several years. And it's nothing super it's actually not as complicated as I think a lot of people realize or think that it is. It can be quite easy. It can be a step that you just add right into your makeup routine. You don't have to do everything and then think, okay, now I gotta add another 10 minutes doing another step. It can just become like a part of how you do your makeup, and that's how I like to think of it for me. You'll see in a minute when I go to the starting look, which is just, my eyes will be totally done, my foundation's totally done, but I haven't touched anything else. I haven't put any bronzer or done any anything else, and it's just a very flat look. So highlighting and contouring gives your face dimension. It sort of can slim areas that you want slimmed. It can bring out areas that are like higher planes of the face, that it's a little more flattering when you sort of accentuate those. And when it all comes together, it just gives your face so much more dimension. It really can conceal flaws. It just makes your face look better. And there's so many great products that you can use you can use any powder you like that's darker, that's the right tone for you. Whether it's a bronzer, whether it's an actual contouring color or product. Same with highlighters. It's not necessarily you have to use products that are called contouring or highlighting products. However, that's why I'm not usually a fan of highlighting and contouring palettes. However, this one I got my hands on and thought this could work for me because the colors looked light enough to show up on fair skin tones, but it's also got some other good ones. It's got 8 different colors essentially, but it's got so many different shades of contour colors, and I'll show you how I use the different shades. It's sort of a really good method about using a larger brush with a lighter contour shade, and then using smaller brushes as you go to sort of help the effect. Now, you could hear it was kind of shaking a little because these are removable or refillable, I guess. So you can pop them out if you wanted to get another one, if you used one up and you wanted to change it out. So it's very cool whether you're a professional or you're a person that is just wanting a good everyday palette that, if you wanted to step your makeup up a little bit and try something new. So I'm really into this. And like I said, my reasoning for not usually liking these is because obviously, usually the coloring is a bit off. I feel like I have to pile on so much to make the highlight shades show up. However, this one, the highlight shades are actually light enough to show up and look flattering on me without having to pile on so much. Quality is really good. It has amazing payoff, blends like a dream. But I like that I can literally use just this. I don't have to use a bronzer. I don't have to use extra colors to, like my Laura Mercier Matte Radiance, which I still love. But, I don't have to use anything else to add any radiance to my face. It's all here, from everything that I use under my eye to just everything. So I'm going to show you how exactly I use it. Since we're doing sort of a review, overview, and a demo, I know I've talked about this a little bit more, sort of reviewed it a little more if you saw my haul video. If not, I'll go over it a little more with you. It's got the highlight shades on top, the contour on the bottom, obviously. There are 2 matte highlighting shades, and there are 2 more frosted highlighting shades that are more like a nice, I would say like a satiny frost. They're not going to make you look crazy or anything. They're very, very flattering frosted colors, or more shimmery colors. So you've got one that's a little more white and brighter that's frosted, a pink toned, lighter, whitish bright color, a lighter yellowish color, and then this is the color that I would compare to my Laura Mercier Matte Radiance highlight powder. It is just a very natural toned, peachy color with some radiance to it, a little hint of like a sheen. This one is perfect for me to use as a bronzer, to use just not even to use as a bronzer, but just as an all over start to build the contour products upon, and I'll show you how I do that. It just makes everything look more natural than just doing a line and blending. It's just easier, I think. This one actually shows up a little darker on me, and I don't think it's necessarily that it's darker. I think it's just the tone of it is a little more warmer. The payoff is just a little more on this one, but I like that, so I don't use this one a lot because it is very intense. This one, however, I mostly use these 2 shades. This one, however, is a little more of a like taupey. It's not going to be like tan or orangey, I guess I would say. And this one is very dark. So I'm going to show you how I use the dark ones, the light ones, how it sort of all blends together. And I'm just really impressed with it. It comes in a box like this. You know, you can see it through there. And then on the back it has a little diagram of where you would highlight and contour. Let's jump into the actual demo. Okay, so just for the sake of sharing my entire routine with you, there are some things, really just like one thing that I'm going to use that is not the palette, which is my under eye concealer. And you're going to see that really does make a big difference as well when sort of like shaping your face and adding those areas of like lightness and darkness. So I use the IT CCI, and I use the shade Fair, and I use my little micro beauty blender. I like to use the pointed side so it gets really close to my eye. And what you can do is sort of like pull it down a little. Normally I do this before my eye makeup, but just for the sake of like showing you the difference, and I just went ahead and did that. So that really sort of lightens everything up. Then you can flip it over and use the little ball side to just get around the edges. And like always, I like to pull it down like that. I always used to say I would sort of like take my little brush and like stamp that area with like some lightness. So start with your concealer or your under eye brightener, whatever you use. I just use a concealer that's a bit brighter so that you don't have to pile on so many different products. Of course, I already have my foundation and everything done. So already that's making things look a little less flat, I think. Now we are going to go in with the goods. So we're gonna actually start using the palette. Bronzing and contouring, the act of doing them are different things, but a bronzer, a product that's called a bronzer, can totally be used as a contour. For example, I think people just don't really get that. You know, I'm not saying bronzing is the same thing. Like, okay, this is my Nars Laguna, and the first shade in the palette is very similar in tone. So you can interchange them if you wish. So I'm just gonna use this palette and show you how you can sort of warm up your face and do everything with it and add all that dimension. So that when I apply the darker color, it doesn't cling to any of that. I'm really big on making sure that the cream products are set, and I don't like to use anything like super heavy. I don't like to really make it look crazy. So what I'm gonna do is use this yellowy powder and an F35. This is just my all-time favorite. For years when I used to use my MAC Duo with the emphasize and the bone beige, I wish they still made those, because a lot of companies are coming out now with that whole like duo, you know, like the Makeup Forever and stuff like that. MAC should totally have those in the permanent line. Anyways, when this brush first came out from Sigma, I was like, this is perfect. So then I've been using it like that ever since, and this is actually my original one, because I have some of the newer and some of the old ones. They're all great. So anyways, take the yellow powder, and I sort of sweep it very lightly. Looks like I'm using a lot, but I'm really just sort of blending the heck out of it. And that is just gonna set it. And then I take, first of all, this is like a frosted shade, and this is a more matte shade. I take the more matte, lighter shade and put it right there, because I don't want to look like I have raccoon eyes, you know. I don't want to take the light all the way around. But I do like that light right there. So just sort of stamp it right there. And it just sort of really brightens up that plane of your face. And we can touch that up later. But now when we apply the darker shades, it won't be so crazy. So I take a bigger brush first. The lighter the color, the larger the brush, and then as we move on to the darker colors, when we really want to get more precise, we'll use a smaller and smaller brush. So I'm going to start off with this, and this is just an angled Chanel brush. You can use a big fluffy, whatever you want to use. And I'm going to take this lightest shade. It is very similar in tone to Nars Laguna. A little different, but the tone is similar. So what I do is I first touch it where the most contour should be, work it sort of up my temple, and then whatever's left on the brush, I just sort of bring down right here, and it's gonna really warm up my face. Just much like you would with the bronzer when I've showed you before how I just sort of contour with the products that I use every day. And then just sort of work it up your temple. Already you can see a difference. And I didn't really get that one up. But you see I'm using sort of less. I guess I'm just really sort of blending it. But I'm blending the lighter color over like a larger area. Want to conceal a double chin, this is when you would do that. I would use the lightest possible shade that you can to go underneath. Do not use the darkest shade that you can for that. You want to use the biggest brush and the lightest shade. So take some more on there. Don't do this every day, but it can sort of help your makeup blend as well, like in with the darker shades on your face. So I just sort of, you don't want to draw like a beard line, but just very lightly, just get that area. I'm not a big like neck makeup person, that just freaks me out. But if you do it, just do it very sheer. And again, just make sure everything is just blended. Can't say that enough, how important that is with this. So again, already, I feel like this has made the biggest difference. So this is fine daily, I think that's good. You can just sort of lightly sweep it around. This is just, you know, whatever's left on the brush. You don't want to re-dip it and put it here. This is where it should stay the lightest, but got the darkest areas sort of right through here. Now, if you want to keep going, for me, I tend to stay away from a lot of these darker shades. I don't really need those, but just for the sake of showing you, usually I would use like maybe 2 shades, and I feel like that first shade is perfect for doing what I just showed you. And then maybe just take one of the darker shades. I'll just use this third one. This one's a little more like of a grayish, like it's not super bright or tan. This is an F05 brush. This is just the white version. But this is really great for contouring because it's precise, but it's still able, you know, you're able to buff with it. Touch it right there where you can feel like your cheekbone meeting, I guess, your jaw. And just swirl it. You don't want to make a big line. I don't really like a really dramatic, harsh contoured look because I think you can just always kind of tell, and it's just not really into that. And if you want, you can do a little bit darker on your forehead, especially if you have a large forehead and you're trying to conceal that or make it look a little smaller or more balanced. Then you'd really want to concentrate this area right here. But contouring is just mostly about blending. I feel like this whole video is just going to be of me like blending. So it looks like you're applying a lot of product, but really it's just you dip it once, you apply it, and then you just blend and blend and blend forever. Okay, so I feel like that's looking good. And I probably would not add any more darkness to my face, unless if you just wanted something really dramatic. I am not big on using a small brush and making a line and then blending out the line, unless if you're using like a cream product. If you're using a powder, there's just no sense in doing that. You need to just sort of start it softly and just sort of blend it as you go. But on areas that are like smaller and more precise, like your nose, this is an invaluable brush. It's a P84. It's a little dense, soft brush. What I like to do is take that shade that I just used, or I'll just start in with a darker shade. Get it right on the tip of the brush. I even like to dab some off on my finger so that we don't go crazy. And then, it's gonna look weird for a minute, but you're gonna sort of shade. And see, even if you even wipe off a little more. Less is a lot more when you're contouring your nose. And I don't do this every day. I'm just not super into it. Put just a little bit underneath right there. I don't like to accidentally, you know, add more, so I make sure that it's really wiped off, and then I blend that. You can even use your fingers. That's sometimes just my absolute best bet. And then you want to balance that out, so we're going to use the matte color. And I haven't used any shimmer yet. I'm just using the matte colors. I sort of end it with the shimmer. So you can see I added a thin line down the middle. Again, you can wipe it off, or you can use your finger or another brush, and then you just lightly blend in between those two colors so it doesn't look like you got 3 stripes down the middle of your nose, which isn't cute. And then now to finish everything off, you can top some of those colors with the shimmery colors that are on the outside. So this is a very shimmery, or a little bit of, not shimmery, but like a little bit of more of a frosted lighter color, and this is a more frosted natural color. So take that lighter color, you can just put a little bit right layered over the, or layered right over the little area that you did on your nose. You don't want to layer too much right here where your pores are. I like to keep that more matte. And then finally, as a last step, I like to take this more natural shimmery color. If you've got a darker skin tone, this would show up a lot more intense. But I like to just take it like on an F50 brush like that, and just sort of sweep it over everything. You can even apply blush and then do this as like a last step. This is very similar to my beloved Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Highlight Powder, which looks like that. So if you're a fan of this, or that whole look, that just natural, simple, glowy look, then there is a powder in this palette. There's a powder in this palette that literally does everything, like I showed you, from bronzing to, you know, like the whole first step of warming up your skin. So you're not just like, I don't know, I just like it to look as natural as possible. So that's it. Hopefully that helped you guys to see it in action a little bit. It is $24, I believe. $24, $25. I think it's $24. But anyways, I hope that y'all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you all very, very soon. Bye.